promise. I will teach you how to feel it. Not in theory, not in vague concepts, but in the language the universe understands, the language of feeling. For nothing moves in your life until it is first moved in your imagination, and nothing becomes real until it is first felt. This is not about pretending, it is not about empty affirmations, repeated with no heart behind them. It is about embodying the state of the wish fulfilled so completely that the world has no choice but to rearrange itself around your inner conviction. You may have been taught that life responds to effort, to struggle, to hustle, but the truth is far more beautiful, far more radical. Life responds to your inner assumption. The world mirrors not what you want, but what you are conscious of being. So if you wish to experience love, you must feel yourself to be loved. If you wish to experience wealth, you must feel yourself to be wealthy. You do not wait for the world to give you evidence. You become the evidence within, and the world obeys. Let me take you deeper. Think now of something you desire, not something far off, not something abstract, something real, something you ache for in the silence of the night. A home, a partner, freedom, success. Now stop trying to get it. That very effort to get, to grasp, is a confession that you do not have, and the law is exact. You receive not what you long for, but what you already are within. So what do? You close your eyes, you go within, and you construct a scene, not of the desire coming to you, but of you already having it. You hear the words someone would say if it were true. You feel their hand in yours. You hear the laughter. You sense the atmosphere. And then you feel. You allow the emotion of that reality to rise within you. Not a forced feeling, but a surrendered one. You let it rise. Like heat in your chest. Like light behind your eyes. This is not imagination for fantasy, this is imagination for creation. This is not daydreaming, this is sowing seeds in the field of consciousness. What you feel now, deeply and persistently, becomes the shape of your tomorrows. The inner experience must become more real to you than the outer world. The outer is only ever a shadow, a reflection. The inner is the cause. You are not trying to convince the world, you are not even trying to convince yourself. You are stepping into the knowing that your desire is already yours, and the way you know it is by how it feels. The feeling is the secret. The feeling is the prayer. The feeling is the bridge between worlds. When you feel yourself to be the man who already owns the company, the woman who is already deeply loved, the soul who is already free, then you are no longer seeking. You are being. And being is power. Being is creation. Being is destiny shaped by the hands of imagination. So when doubts come, as they will, you do not argue. You return. You return to the scene. You return to the embrace. You return to the applause. You return to the warmth in your chest and the joy in your breath. You dwell there, not once, not casually, but until that state becomes your dwelling place, until it is natural, until it feels like home. Do not measure by time. Do not wait for signs. Do not check the mirror of the world too soon. For the seed planted in feeling grows in silence. It works while you sleep. It moves while you rest. Your only task is to remain faithful, not to what is, but to what is felt as already true. You don't need to ask how it will happen. You don't need to figure out the steps. That's not your job. Your job is to feel the end, to taste it in your imagination and walk through your day as if it were already done. Because when you feel it, when you truly feel it, it is already finished. Feeling is the foundation of manifestation, and until you truly grasp this, you may continue to live a life of trying, hoping, and waiting, rather than creating, becoming, and living. Everything begins in the invisible realm of consciousness. You do not change your world by force or by struggle. You change it by feeling differently within. This feeling is not some vague emotion. It is the quiet inner conviction, the deep sense of this is already mine, that settles into your soul and becomes your new state of being. You are not trying to make something happen, you are resting in the knowing that it already has. That rest, that inner acceptance, is the mark of true belief. And belief is nothing more than sustained feeling. The mistake many make is trying to manifest from a place of emptiness. They look at their current reality, see what is missing, and attempt to speak positive words while still feeling lack. But the universe doesn't respond to words alone. It responds to vibration, to atmosphere, to inner truth. You can say you are rich, but if your feeling says you are poor, then poverty is what will persist. You can say you are loved, but if deep inside you feel alone, unloved, and unworthy, then your world will reflect that feeling back to you over and over again. The feeling is the seed. The outer world is the fruit. You are always manifesting. Even now, in this very moment, you are projecting a feeling into the world, and that feeling is summoning its own reflection. Whether you are aware of it or not, your life is a mirror of what you chronically feel. Your job is not to try harder. Your job is not to hustle more. Your job is to change the feeling within you. And when the feeling changes, the world cannot remain the same. Because the world is not fixed. It is fluid, pliable, ever shifting, and it is obedient to your inner world. Most people ask, how do I get the thing I want? But that is the wrong question. The real question is, how do I feel myself to already have it? The former places you in the position of lack, chasing after something. The latter places you in alignment with the thing already existing in your reality. This is the secret. You do not feel for the thing, you feel from it. You do not stand outside of it and hope to attract it. You step into it as though it were already yours. And the moment you feel it as real, it begins to take form. The world has no choice but to match your assumption. Feeling is not only the seed of change, it is the evidence of faith. You may not see the physical change yet, but when you can feel the result as already yours, you know it's done. And this knowing changes everything. It alters how you walk through the day. It shifts your tone when you speak. It colors your thoughts and softens your reactions. Because you are no longer trying to get something, you are being it. You're not pretending, you're not acting, you are dwelling in the experience as though it were fact. But it's not always easy, is it? Because the world is loud. It constantly screams at you about what is. It tries to trap you in appearances, in statistics, in logic. But manifestation is not logical, it is spiritual. It is governed by laws deeper than the mind can fully grasp. The outer is only an echo, a delay, a shell. The real power is inside you. It always has been. The power to create, to transform, to command your world lies in the simple act of feeling a new state to be real, not for a moment, not once or twice, but until it becomes natural. It's like wearing a new garment. At first it may feel unfamiliar. You may still feel like the old version of you, but as you continue to wear it, as you continue to feel it, it starts to become second nature. And soon the world forgets who you were and only recognizes who you've become. But the transformation began the moment you accepted the feeling, the moment you decided that this new reality, though invisible, was now yours. Many think feeling is just a reaction to something, that you must see something first to feel it. But the opposite is true. You must feel it first in order to see it. If you wait for the world to give you permission to feel wealthy, you will wait forever. If you wait for someone to love you before you feel lovable, you will wander from heart to heart without peace. You must generate the feeling from within. You must become the cause. Think of it like music. You don't wait for the dance floor to fill up before you move. You let the music carry you, and as you move, others join in. The rhythm begins in your soul. The movement starts in your imagination, and the world responds. It always does. So stop checking your outer world for signs. Stop measuring your progress by what others see. Start trusting the feeling. Start living from the state of the wish fulfilled, and watch as everything around you shifts into harmony with it. It may feel strange at first. You may say to yourself, but nothing's changed. And that's the moment you must decide whether you trust the feeling more than the facts. Because the facts are old news. They are just the shadow of yesterday's feelings. If you want a new world, you must feel a new state now, today, not tomorrow, not when things look better. Now, right here where you are, regardless of appearances. This is where the power lies, in choosing to feel truth before it is seen, in letting your inner world become more real than anything the eyes can detect. And when you do that, when you live in that feeling long enough, consistently enough, it becomes your reality. Not by chance, not by luck, but by law. You are always becoming what you feel. Every moment you live from a state, you are giving life to it. Every time you return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you water that seed. And one day, without even realizing how, you look around and discover you're living the very thing you once only dared to feel. Assume the state of the wish fulfilled, and you will no longer chase after life, you will command it. The moment you assume something to be true in your inner world, even if the outer contradicts it completely, you step into the creative position of power. Assumption is not passive, it is not wishful thinking. It is an inner decision, a quiet but unshakable knowing that what you desire is already yours. This assumption becomes the soil in which reality must grow, for everything in your world is born from what you consent to feel as real. To assume is to wear the identity of the person who already has the thing you seek. If you desire success, you don't wait until the world calls you successful. You feel it now. You think as that version of yourself. You walk, speak, and rest in that state as though it were fact. It is not delusion. It is divine creation. It is aligning your consciousness with the truth you wish to live. For the outer world is not the source of truth. It is a projection. It is molded by the inner realm, and assumption is the hand that shapes the clay. When you assume the state of the wish fulfilled, you change your inner atmosphere. You send out a different frequency, and that frequency begins to summon circumstances, people, and events that reflect your new state. It's as if life starts conspiring to prove your assumption correct because it has no choice. It is bound by the laws of consciousness, and consciousness creates reality not by effort, but by assumption. The moment you shift your identity from a person who wants to a person who already has, the story changes. Many live as if they are on trial, waiting for evidence, for proof, before they believe. But that is backward. You must believe before the evidence appears. You must act as if it's already yours before you see even a flicker of change. Because the seeing follows the believing, not the other way around. The world outside of you is nothing more than a delayed mirror of what you've been assuming in the silence. So when you take on a new assumption, not just with words, but with feeling, with inner conviction, you alter what that mirror will reflect. You've been taught to react, to respond to what is, but assumption teaches you to initiate, to feel before there's a reason to believe in the invisible and walk in the unseen. And that kind of faith bends reality. It forces the unseen to become seen because it is rooted in spiritual law. What you are conscious of being determines what you will experience. It does not matter how long you've lived without it. It does not matter what anyone says about what's possible. The only thing that matters is the state you dwell in, because that state will harden into fact. Assuming the state of the wish fulfilled is not pretending, it's not acting for an audience, it's not putting on a mask, it's a deep inner shift, a return to your true nature as a creator. It's stepping into the role of author, no longer a character hoping for change, but the one writing the next chapter with authority and purpose. You begin to move through life, not with desperation, but with certainty, not with anxiety, but with calm confidence, because you know you already possess what matters most, the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This assumption must be lived in. It must be nurtured and revisited until it becomes your dwelling place. You do not assume once and then forget. You do not dip your toe into the new state and then retreat when doubts come. You must remain faithful to it. The same way you would remain faithful to a place you call home. You keep returning to it, no matter how far your mind may wander. Because assumption is not a technique, it's a way of life. It's a decision to feel yourself to be different, and to persist in that feeling no matter what the world shouts back at you. It is in the silence, in the moments when no one else is watching, that your assumption takes root. You rehearse the inner conversation, you feel the embrace, you sense the success, you dwell in the end as if it were already now. You do this not to escape reality, but to create it. The more you visit the state of your fulfilled desire, the more familiar it becomes. And soon it no longer feels like imagination, it feels like memory. And that is the key. When your wish feels like something you are remembering instead of hoping for, the shift has occurred. Assumption demands that you give up the identity of the one who lacks. It demands you release the story of why it hasn't happened yet. You let go of the old self, the one who tries, begs, and waits, and you put on the new self. And this new self isn't found through logic or proof. It is found in the decision to feel as if the thing were already done. And in that feeling you rise, you awaken, you step into alignment with your highest truth. The world may not change in an instant, but your world changes the moment you assume. The current may still show signs of the old state, but those signs are echoes, fading, dissolving. The new must come, for it is law, and that law is governed by what you are now assuming to be true. So hold the new state as sacred. Return to it often. Feel it with depth, with gratitude, with joy. Not because it isn't real, but because, and it's your responsibility to keep the door open for it through your persistent assumption. You must be bold enough to feel rich when the bank is empty, bold enough to feel loved when the room is silent, bold enough to feel healed when the body aches. That boldness is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is creation from within, where all true creation begins. You are not deceiving yourself, you are revealing your power. You are not ignoring reality, you are rewriting it from the source. That is what assumption does. It cuts through appearances and connects you with the truth, that your desires are not outside of you, they are within, waiting for you to live them in feeling. And when you do, when you persist in this new identity long enough, the world bends, the path opens, the people come, the circumstances align, not because you forced them to, but because you felt them to. You became one with the result before it arrived. And so it had to arrive, it had to become flesh. For assumption, once felt deeply and held faithfully, must always manifest in form. That is the law. Imagination is not a place of fantasy. It is the divine workshop of creation. It is the sacred realm where the unseen takes form, where the blueprint of every desire is drawn, shaped, and breathed into life. Most people treat imagination like a fleeting daydream, something to be entertained, but not trusted. But those who understand the power hidden within it know that imagination is not play, it is purpose. It is the creative force through which life itself is reshaped. Everything that now exists was once only imagined. Every building, every business, every breakthrough, Each began as a silent image in someone's mind, and you too hold that same creative tool within you. When you imagine something vividly and feel it as real, you are doing far more than entertaining a nice thought. You are planting a seed in the soil of consciousness. You are initiating a change in the unseen world that, with persistence, will echo into the physical. The subconscious mind does not know the difference between what is real and what is imagined with conviction. It simply responds to the feeling of the idea. And the moment your imagination creates an experience that feels real to you, the subconscious receives it as truth and begins to organize your life to match it. Imagination is your inner sanctuary, your private temple where no one else can enter, and yet it governs everything in your external world. It is within this space that you can build your destiny with precision. You do not need to wait for permission. You do not need to ask anyone to join you. You can go there now. You can close your eyes and craft the moment, the scene, the dialogue, the emotion. You can feel the warm air of a new country. You can hear the voice of someone congratulating you. You can smell the pages of the book you've written or feel the texture of the fabric in your dream home. And all of it, every detail, if felt deeply, will begin to move the invisible currents of reality in your favor. This power is not reserved for a few. It is yours. It has always been yours. You were born with the capacity to imagine, but you must now use it deliberately. You must stop using imagination to rehearse worry, to repeat failures, to relieve pain. You must stop imagining the worst and expecting the best. Because your imagination, like fertile soil, will grow whatever seed you plant. It does not judge, it does not question, it simply creates. So be mindful, be intentional, build your inner world with care. The act of imagining must be more than mental images, it must involve emotion. Feeling is the force that gives imagination its creative power. When you visualize something but feel nothing, you are painting without color. You are building without foundation. But when your imagination becomes vivid, when the sounds and textures and emotions come alive within you, the line between what is and what is imagined begins to blur. And that is the point where change happens. When your inner experience becomes more compelling than your current reality, the current reality must yield. Imagination is not idle. It is not a distraction. It is the birthplace of miracles. It is through imagination that you assume new states of being, new identities, new lives. And the beautiful truth is that you can visit this realm at any time. You can choose in any moment to close the door to the world and open the door to possibility. There, in the silence, you can create. You can rewrite your past, rehearse your future, and step into the version of yourself that you long to be. Not tomorrow, not in a distant future, now. Because time is irrelevant in imagination. The future exists now in the seed of a thought, and the more you return to it, the more it grows. There is no limitation in imagination. You are not bound by your current circumstances, your past, or your fears. In this space you are free, you are infinite, you are divine. And that is not poetic, it is law. For what you consistently imagine and feel will become the world around you. It is not magic, it is not wishful thinking. It is creation, pure and simple. You are always imagining something. The only question is, are you imagining what you want or what you fear? To use imagination effectively, you must begin to treat it with reverence. No more casual wandering, no more allowing your mind to dwell in what you hate. If your world is a reflection of what you hold in mind with feeling, then let your imagination become sacred. Let it become the place where you walk with purpose. Speak only what you desire and feel only what you wish to experience. Do not wait for evidence. Do not ask whether it is working. Trust the process. Imagination combined with feeling is the womb of reality. Once you've conceived it there, the outer world is merely catching up. Some might argue, but I imagined once and nothing changed. That is because imagination is not a one-time act. It is a state to dwell in, not visit occasionally. If you visit wealth in imagination but live most of your day in fear of lack, the dominant state will win. If you imagine love for a few minutes but feel lonely for hours, the loneliness will be louder. You must learn to return often to the inner world to make it your home. You must practice it until it becomes effortless, until the imagined becomes familiar, until it feels like memory rather than desire. The more you live from this space, the less reactive you become to the outer world, because you understand that reality is not happening to you, it is flowing from you. It is responding to the images you hold and the feelings you nurture. And when you master your imagination, you master life. You begin to anticipate joy before it arrives. You begin to walk in abundance before it shows up. You begin to feel whole before healing has manifested. And in doing so, you become the architect of your future. The world will call it coincidence. They'll say you were lucky. But you'll know. You'll know that every breakthrough, every unexpected blessing, every miraculous shift was first crafted in the silence of your soul. You'll know that before it ever appeared, you lived it, felt it, walked in it, within. You will understand the profound secret that the world is clay and imagination is the hand that molds it. And once that realization settles in your heart, you will never again underestimate the power of a single imagined moment, because you will know that what you imagine with feeling today becomes the life you live tomorrow. Persistence in the assumption is the secret few understand and even fewer practice. It is easy to imagine something once and feel inspired in the moment, but the real power lies in returning to that feeling again and again, especially when nothing outside of you seems to agree with it. This is where most people falter. They assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled once or twice, perhaps during a quiet meditation or a late night walk. And then when life continues to reflect the old reality, they give up. They decide it didn't work. But manifestation is not a game of trial. It is a matter of faith, and faith is proven through persistence. The world you see today is not the result of one thought or one emotion. It is the cumulative expression of what you have persistently felt and assumed to be true. Your assumption must become your home, not a hotel you visit now and then, but the place where you dwell. You live there, think from there, speak from there, and make decisions from that place. Even when circumstances scream the opposite, you must remain rooted in the truth of your inner world. That is what persistence looks like. It's not about struggle or forcing the universe. It is about silently and faithfully abiding in the feeling that your desire is already fulfilled. The outer world may try to shake you, delay you, distract you, but your job is to stay in the state. That is the only work that matters. Persistence is not repetition. It's not saying the same words over and over. It's not constantly visualizing to force something into being. It is the quiet, confident return to the feeling. When doubt whispers that nothing has changed, you smile, not in denial, but in remembrance of the truth you have already chosen. You remind yourself that what you feel as real will become real, and no evidence to the contrary can break that law. The feeling you nurture is far more powerful than any condition around you. The outer world is a servant to the inner, and the inner bends only to sustain belief. You must be willing to walk by inner vision, not outer sight. Because in the early stages of creation, the world will not look different. It might even look worse. That's the test, not of whether the law works, but of whether you will continue to stand in your chosen state. Will you keep feeling successful when your bank account says otherwise? Will you keep feeling love when no one is calling? Will you keep feeling healed when the symptoms are still present? These are the moments that define the Creator, because creation does not begin on the surface. It begins in the silence. Persistence rewires the mind. The first time you assume a new state, your old beliefs will resist. They've been with you for years, decades. But the more you return to the new state, the more it becomes familiar. The old beliefs begin to dissolve, not by force, but by neglect. They lose their power because you no longer feed them. You no longer feed them, you are too busy nurturing the new. And what you feed grows, what you ignore withers. This is not mystical language, it is how the mind works. What you focus on becomes your dominant vibration, and your dominant vibration becomes your experience. There will be days when the feeling is easy and natural, and there will be days when the world seems determined to pull you back into the old self. This is where persistence becomes sacred. Not because you are proving something to anyone, but because you are honoring the truth you've chosen to live by. You are walking in the unseen, and that walk shapes the visible. If you only assume when things feel good, your results will be unstable. But when you assume consistently, regardless of conditions, you will see change that feels like magic, but is really law in motion. You don't need to do this perfectly. You don't need to never doubt again. But you do need to return. Return to the feeling, return to the scene, return to the end. Not in fear, not in panic, but in confidence. In peace. In knowing that every time you feel from the end, you are building a bridge from the unseen to the seen. That bridge may not appear immediately, but it is being built. With every repetition, every quiet inner conviction, every moment of feeling it is done, you are placing the bricks of your new world. You may look at others and wonder why things happen quickly for them, or why your desire seems to take time. But the law is not selective, it is impartial. The difference lies only in persistence. Those who seem to manifest effortlessly are often those who've mastered the art of consistent assumption. They do not question it, they do not waver, they decide, they feel, and they remain. And eventually the world bends to meet them, not because they are better, more worthy, or lucky, but because they dared to persist. When you feel like giving up, remember that your outer world is always behind your inner world. What you see today is the echo of what you felt yesterday. So if you want tomorrow to look different, feel different now. Begin now, return now. This is how transformation happens, not in one grand moment of inspiration, but in the quiet, sacred persistence of one who knows the truth. The truth that nothing can stay the same when the inner state changes. You are not begging for a miracle. You are not trying to convince the world. You are simply remaining faithful to the life you have already claimed in feeling. You are not waiting, you are living it within. That is the essence of persistence. Not loud, not dramatic, but steady, faithful, grounded. A decision repeated in silence, a feeling held like a flame in the dark. A truth lived before it is seen, and in time the outer must mirror the inner. It must take shape, not because you demanded it, but because you never let go. You are not here to figure out how. That has never been your job. The mechanics of manifestation do not require your manipulation. Your only responsibility is to feel the end, to live in the state of the wish fulfilled with such conviction that the outcome becomes inevitable. The moment you step into that inner experience and surrender the urge to control the process, you activate forces beyond your understanding, forces that are precise, intelligent, and far more capable than the rational mind. When you feel something as already true and let go of the need to know how it will come, you are aligning yourself with a universal law that never fails. The obsession with the how is what delays so many manifestations. People feel the desire but immediately follow it with questions, doubts, and logical barriers. How could this happen? Who will bring it? What steps must I take? These questions, though they seem natural, are born from mistrust. They imply that you are not sure the universe knows what it's doing. They reveal a hidden belief that unless you control every step, nothing will change. But the truth is, control is an illusion. The more you try to force the outcome, the more resistance you create. Manifestation is not about effort. It is about alignment. And alignment is born from surrender. Surrender to the unseen, the infinite intelligence that responds not to effort but to feeling. When you feel it is done, you step out of the state of lack. You no longer ask, you no longer wish, you embody. That embodiment is what sends the clearest signal to the universe. Not words, not frantic energy, but still, powerful feeling. The kind of feeling that knows it's already done. This isn't arrogance. This isn't fantasy. This is truth remembered. Every time you return to the state of the wish fulfilled and let go of how it's going to happen, you make space for the universe to move in ways you could never orchestrate on your own. There is something profoundly humbling about realizing that your mind, as sharp as it may be, is limited. It cannot see all angles. It cannot predict all outcomes. And yet, there is something in you that does know. Something that works in silence, behind the scenes, drawing the right people, timing the right events, placing the right pieces together. Your task is to trust it. To trust that when you feel something deeply, consistently, and without contradiction, life has no choice but to reflect it. The pieces begin to move not because you pushed them, but because your feeling called them into place. Letting go of the how is not giving up. It is stepping into deeper faith. It is saying, I know what I want. I feel it as mine, and I trust that it will find me in the right way at the right time. That trust opens doors you didn't know existed. It dissolves resistance. It creates room for miracles. Not miracles in the sense of something unnatural, but miracles in the sense that you didn't have to make it happen. It happened through you because you allowed it. You surrendered the need to control, and in doing so, invited the divine to work on your behalf. The more you try to control, the more you reveal that you don't believe. Because true belief requires no backup plan. True belief is content with silence, with stillness, with space. It does not rush. It does not panic. It does not search. It rests. And in that rest, creation is born. There's a quiet power in those who can say, I don't know how, but I know it's coming. That knowing creates a magnetic field that draws the fulfillment toward you. Not slowly, not randomly, but precisely, perfectly. You've already experienced moments where things just seem to fall into place, where one thing led to another in a way you couldn't have planned. That's not coincidence. That's what happens when you get out of the way, when you stop interfering with the process and start trusting the process. The universe does not need your instructions. It only needs your clarity. And clarity comes from feeling. Once you've felt something as true, your work is done. Everything else is movement. Everything else is unfolding. It will happen not because you chased it, but because you became it. There is a secret that governs the lives of the wealthy, the powerful, and those who walk with an air of undeniable confidence. It is not their possessions that make them exude luxury, nor is it their bank accounts that create the presence they command. It is their inner state, the unseen reality they embody before the world catches up. To move as they move, to radiate the effortless grace of success, one must first assume the consciousness of wealth and power within. Confidence is not learned, it is remembered. It is the natural state of one who understands their own power. The world does not give it to you. You declare it within yourself. You do not wait for success to feel successful. You do not wait for luxury to feel luxurious. You move through life as though it is already yours. The way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the way you hold your head high, these are not the effects of wealth, but the causes of it. To exude luxury is not to possess more, but to know without a doubt that you already have all you need. The rich do not concern themselves with proving their worth, for they are certain of it. They expect the finest, not with arrogance, but with quiet assurance. Their presence alone speaks louder than words. There is no hesitation, no seeking approval, only the deep awareness that they are exactly who they believe themselves to be. You must assume the feeling of wealth before it materializes. You must walk, speak, and think as one who already has what they desire. The mind that still hopes for success remains in lack. The mind that knows success is inevitable moves with certainty. This is the difference between those who wait and those who command. Those who wait will always be waiting. Those who command will always receive. Luxury is a state of mind. It is not in the clothes, the cars, or the lifestyle. It is in the way you perceive yourself. When you begin to see yourself as one who deserves the best will seek you out. When you accept within that you are already that person, the world will rearrange itself to reflect it back to you. The essence of luxury and confidence is not something acquired from the outside world, but something that must first be cultivated within. True wealth is not measured by what you own, but by the state of mind you embody before your external reality begins to reflect it back to you. The world operates on a law that many fail to grasp. What you assume yourself to be, you inevitably become. It is not your circumstances that define you. It is your belief about yourself that shapes your life. The rich and powerful do not carry themselves with confidence because they have money. They have money because they carry themselves with confidence. They do not dress well to feel important. They feel important, and so they dress well. They do not speak with authority because others listen to them. Others listen to them because they speak with authority. Everything begins within. Every fortune, every success story, every great legacy started first as a conviction in the mind of the one who possessed it. To exude luxury is to embody a deep sense of worthiness. It is to know beyond any doubt that you are deserving of the finest things in life, not because you have earned them, but because your very existence makes you worthy. There is no need to prove yourself to anyone. There is no need to chase after validation. The moment you recognize your own value, the world will simply mirror it back to you. Many people misunderstand the nature of wealth. They believe that if they had more money, better clothes, or a more extravagant lifestyle, they would finally feel successful. But the truth is, unless the feeling of success is first established within, no amount of external wealth will ever be enough. You could wear the most expensive designer clothing, drive the most luxurious car, and live in a grand estate, yet if you still see yourself as someone struggling or unworthy, that is the reality you will continue to manifest. Luxury is not a thing, it is a presence. It is the way you walk into a room, it is the way you hold yourself, the way you move, the way you speak. It is an energy that radiates from within, effortlessly drawing people and opportunities toward you. When you see someone who exudes true wealth, you can feel it. It is not the brands they wear or the material things they possess. It is the way they carry themselves. They do not seek attention, yet attention naturally falls upon them. They do not demand respect, yet they are respected. They do not compete, yet they always seem to win. The secret lies in knowing that you are already enough. When you operate from this understanding, you stop chasing and start attracting. You stop striving and start receiving. You stop worrying about how others perceive you because you are no longer looking for external validation. You simply exist in the state of already being the person you desire to be, and as a result, everything you desire begins to flow effortlessly into your life. Many people wait for external changes before they allow themselves to feel successful. They think, once I have the money, then I will feel rich. Once I have the perfect relationship, then I will feel loved. Once I achieve my goals, then I will feel confident. But this is a backwards way of thinking. The outer world does not create the inner world. The inner world creates the outer world. You must first feel wealthy, loved, and confident within yourself before any of these things can materialize in your reality. The moment you shift your self-concept, everything around you begins to shift as well. The people you attract change. The way others respond to you changes. The opportunities that come your way change. It is as if the entire universe rearranges itself to accommodate your new state of being. And it all begins with a decision, one single decision, to see yourself differently. To know yourself as someone who already possesses all that you desire. Luxury is a state of being. It is the ability to walk through life knowing that you are enough, that you are valuable, that you are worthy of the best. It is the quiet confidence of someone who does not need to prove anything to anyone. It is the calm assurance that comes from knowing that everything you desire is already yours. It is the deep, unwavering belief that you belong in the spaces you wish to occupy, that you deserve the experiences you dream of, and that the world will always rise to meet your expectations. The rich are not rich because of their money. They are rich because they see themselves as rich. They are not confident because of their success. They are successful because they first carried themselves with confidence. Everything is a reflection of your inner state. If you want to exude luxury and confidence, do not start by changing your wardrobe, your car, or your home. Start by changing the way you see yourself. Begin to embody the energy of the person you wish to become. Feel within yourself what it is like to already be that person. Ask yourself, how would I move if I already had everything I desired? How would I speak? How would I present myself to the world? Then, without waiting for external validation, begin to move, speak, and present yourself that way now. The world is simply a mirror, reflecting back to you what you believe about yourself. If you see yourself as someone of value, the world will treat you as valuable. If you see yourself as someone worthy of success, success will find its way to you. If you walk with the certainty of one who already possesses wealth, wealth will inevitably come into your experience. Most people do not fail because they lack resources. They fail because they cannot see themselves as the person who has already won. They do not believe they belong in luxury, so they push it away. They do not believe they are worthy of success, so they sabotage it. The mind, if not directed consciously, will always revert to what it has been conditioned to believe. And for many, that conditioning is one of lack, struggle, and unworthiness. But at any moment you can choose differently. You can choose to see yourself as the person who has already arrived. You can choose to carry yourself with the energy of success, to move with the quiet assurance of someone who belongs in the finest places, to walk with the grace of one who is already living the life they desire. And as you do, the world will begin to reflect your new state of being back to you. The feeling must come first. The belief must be established within before it can be seen without. The moment you truly know yourself as wealthy, as powerful, as worthy, the external world will have no choice but to align with that knowing. The moment you stop seeking and start embodying, you will find that everything you once chased after is now effortlessly drawn to you. Luxury and confidence are not things you acquire, they are things you remember about yourself. They are states of being that are already within you, waiting to be claimed. The secret to luxury and confidence is not found in effort, struggle, or external validation. It is found in assumption. You do not need to chase after success, wealth, or admiration. You only need to assume the consciousness of one who already possesses these things. The world does not give you what you want, it gives you who you are. Every moment of your life is a reflection of the state of mind you habitually dwell in. When you walk through life carrying the consciousness of success, the world has no choice but to shape itself to match your inner certainty. Those who are wealthy do not operate from a mindset of lack. They do not see money as something to desperately obtain or something that is slipping away from them. They live in the unwavering belief that abundance is their natural state. They do not need to remind themselves to feel secure or powerful because that security and power are embedded in their very being. They carry the consciousness of wealth, and that consciousness manifests as financial prosperity, influence, and ease. Confidence does not come from what you have, it comes from who you believe yourself to be. The rich do not seek approval because they do not need it. They do not shrink themselves in the presence of others, nor do they exaggerate their importance. They simply exist in the certainty of their own worth. Their confidence is not arrogance, nor is it forced. It is a quiet knowing, an effortless presence that commands attention without demanding it. They assume they belong, and so they do. They assume they are respected, and so they are. They assume success is inevitable, and so it follows them. Most people believe they must first acquire something before they can feel worthy of it. They believe they must first have wealth before they can carry themselves with the ease of the rich. They believe they must first achieve success before they can walk with the confidence of someone who has already won. But this thinking is backward. The external world is a reflection of the internal world. You do not wait for your reality to change before assuming a new state of being. You assume the new state first, and the world follows. There is no effort in assumption. You do not struggle to believe that you are who you are. You do not wake up each morning trying to remember your name or your identity. It is natural to you. In the same way, when you assume the consciousness of wealth and confidence, it becomes effortless. There is no pretending, no forcing, no hoping. It simply is. You no longer see yourself as someone who is striving for success. You know you are already successful. You no longer try to act wealthy. You know that wealth is yours even before it appears physically. You do not question your worth. You exist in the absolute, knowing that you are valuable. When you assume the consciousness of success, you begin to move differently. Your posture changes, your energy shifts, your voice carries a different weight. The world responds to you in a way it never did before. You notice that opportunities appear effortlessly, that people treat you with more respect, that situations unfold in your favor. This is not because the external world suddenly decided to reward you. It is because you changed the state from which you operate. The world is only reflecting back what you now embody. Most people do not understand the power of assumption. They spend their lives trying to prove their worth, trying to force success, trying to manipulate external circumstances. But those who truly understand how reality works do not operate from effort, they operate from knowing. They do not chase, they attract. They do not ask, they expect. They do not seek permission to be great, they assume their greatness. And the world aligns accordingly. The consciousness of wealth does not waver. It does not panic in times of uncertainty. It does not question whether abundance will continue to flow. It moves with the assurance that all things are already taken care of. Those who carry this consciousness never wonder if they will succeed. They know they already have. They do not hesitate when opportunities arise. They act with certainty because they trust in their own inevitability. The difference between those who succeed and those who struggle is not luck, intelligence, or effort. It is state of mind. The one who assumes they are wealthy, powerful, and respected will always manifest those realities, while the one who believes they must earn these things will continue to chase them indefinitely. You do not need to work harder to become the person you wish to be. You only need to shift your state of being. You only need to assume that you already are. Luxury and confidence are not external attributes, they are internal conditions. You do not need a designer wardrobe to look expensive. You need the consciousness of one who is accustomed to the finest things in life. You do not need validation from others to feel important. You need the consciousness of one who already knows their worth. The external follows the internal, always. People who are naturally wealthy do not operate from desperation. They do not hope for opportunities, they expect them. They do not dream of abundance, they live in the certainty of it. They assume that everything they desire is already on its way to them, and so it is. They do not chase money, money comes to them. They do not force success, success is drawn to them. They do not question their position in life. They know they belong at the top. When you assume a new consciousness, your actions naturally align with that state. You no longer hesitate to step into luxurious environments because you know you belong there. You no longer shrink yourself in the presence of power because you recognize that you too are powerful. You no longer feel the need to explain or justify yourself because you operate from a place of inner certainty. You move through life with the quiet confidence of one who already possesses everything they desire. There is a profound ease that comes with this shift. When you are no longer trying to prove yourself, you become magnetic. People are drawn to those who carry themselves with certainty. They are naturally inclined to respect and admire those who do not seek approval. This is why the rich and powerful often seem to have an effortless pull over others. They do not ask for attention, they receive it because they assume it is theirs. The mind is the only thing that stands between you and the life you desire. If you believe you are someone who must work tirelessly to earn success, that is the reality you will experience. But if you assume the consciousness of one who already has success, then everything you desire will come to you without struggle. The moment you stop trying to become and simply assume that you already are, the world will conform to your new self-concept. Every moment you have a choice. You can continue to operate from the mindset of lack, waiting for external validation before you allow yourself to feel successful, or you can step into the consciousness of wealth, knowing that everything you seek is already within you. The shift does not require time, it does not require effort. It only requires that you decide. Decide to carry yourself as one who already has it all. Decide to embody the energy of confidence, power, and success. Decide to assume the consciousness of the life you desire, and the world will align to match your assumption. The way you carry yourself in the world is a direct reflection of the beliefs you hold about yourself. Every gesture, every word, every movement is an unspoken declaration of your state of mind. Those who exude luxury and confidence do not do so by accident. They have assumed an inner state that radiates outward. They walk with purpose, they move with ease, they exist in a space of knowing. There is no hesitation in their steps, no doubt in their presence. The energy they project is one of certainty, and that certainty is what draws the world to them. Posture is more than just a physical stance. It is an external manifestation of an internal belief. When you observe those who command attention effortlessly, you will notice that they never shrink themselves. Their shoulders are back, their movements are fluid, and their presence is undeniable. They do not rush, nor do they hesitate. Their confidence is not forced, it is natural. They do not need to announce their importance because it is already understood. Their presence alone speaks volumes. The way you sit, the way you stand, the way you hold your head, each of these things tells the world what to believe about you. Those who are uncertain of themselves make themselves small. They hunch their shoulders, they avoid eye contact, they move nervously, they project the energy of someone who is unsure. And the world responds accordingly. But those who move through life as though they belong, as though they are certain of their place, find that the world bends to accommodate their presence. True wealth is not something that fluctuates based on circumstances. It is not something that appears when conditions are perfect. It is a state of being that remains unshaken regardless of external appearances. A person who truly embodies wealth does not crumble when faced with a challenge, nor do they question their worth if their bank balance changes. They know that their wealth is not tied to a single source. They understand that abundance is a constant flow, not a limited resource. And because they live in this knowing, they always find themselves in situations that reflect it. There is no need to grasp at wealth when you know it is already yours. Desperation repels, while certainty attracts. The moment you release the fear of not having enough, the moment you stop treating wealth as something separate from you, it begins to move toward you effortlessly. The rich do not worry about whether or not they will be able to afford something. They simply decide. They do not question if they are worthy of luxury. They already know they are. This is the key distinction. Wealth does not begin in the wallet. It begins in the mind. People often believe that they will feel wealthy once they have a certain amount of money. But in reality, money flows to those who already embody the feeling of wealth. This is why those who chase money often find themselves in a cycle of never having enough, while those who assume abundance seem to attract more of it effortlessly. It is not about how much you have, it is about how you feel about what you have. When you move through life with the certainty of wealth, you will find that life bends to accommodate that certainty. Every action you take should reflect the state of wealth you wish to embody. If you desire to exude luxury and confidence, start treating yourself as though you already possess those qualities. Carry yourself with ease. Move through life with a sense of deserving. Choose experiences that reinforce your self-worth. Speak with certainty. Walk with intention. Allow yourself to receive without guilt. Wealth is not a destination, it is a state of being. And when you fully step into that state, the world will adjust itself to match your vibration. The feeling of wealth is always available to you. It does not require a specific number in your account, nor does it require external validation. It is something you choose, something you step into, something you embody. The moment you begin to treat yourself as though you are already abundant, life will conspire to make it your reality. Wealth is not something you acquire, it is something you become. And once you become it, the world will reflect it back to you in ways beyond your imagination. The way you present yourself to the world is a reflection of your inner state. Confidence and luxury are not about material wealth alone. They are about the energy you project. Those who exude wealth do not merely wear expensive clothes or drive lavish cars. They carry themselves with a quiet assurance that speaks louder than any external display. They walk with certainty. They move with ease, and they radiate a presence that commands attention. This presence is not cultivated by external validation, but by an internal shift in identity. You do not become wealthy by waiting for money to appear. You become wealthy by first feeling and acting as if you already are. Luxury is not about excess, but about refinement. It is about an awareness of quality in every aspect of life. A person who embodies wealth is intentional about their choices. They do not settle for mediocrity. They demand excellence. Not from a place of entitlement, but from a deep understanding that they are worthy of the best. They take care of their appearance, not to impress others, but because they know that how they present themselves shapes how they feel and how the world responds to them. Their clothing, their grooming, their posture, all of it is an outward expression of the wealth consciousness they carry within. The most powerful individuals in the world do not need to announce their presence. They do not need to seek approval or prove their worth. They simply are. Their confidence is effortless, their demeanor unshaken, their aura magnetic. This is not something they were born with, it is something they cultivated, and it begins with the way they see themselves. When you believe in your worth, when you accept your own value as absolute, you move through life differently. You no longer seek permission to take up space. You no longer feel the need to justify your desires. You become the embodiment of wealth, and the world adjusts accordingly. There is a certain grace in the way a wealthy person carries themselves. They do not rush. They do not fidget. They are present in every moment, fully engaged with their surroundings. Their speech is measured, deliberate, filled with certainty. They do not over-explain, nor do they beg to be understood. They speak and move with authority, not because they force it, but because they believe in the power of their own presence. This is not arrogance. It is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing who you are. You do not need vast sums of money to cultivate this presence. You need only to shift your mindset. Start by treating yourself with the level of respect you expect from the world. Stand tall, walk with purpose, speak with clarity. Take care of yourself as if you are already the most valuable person in the room, not because you seek validation, but because you understand your own worth. Invest in yourself, not just in your appearance, but in your knowledge, your skills, your experiences. A wealthy mind attracts a wealthy life. Luxury is not only found in grand gestures, it is found in the small details. The way you hold a cup of tea, the way you arrange your space, the way you take a deep breath before responding rather than reacting. These nuances create an aura of elegance and control. When you carry yourself with refinement, you signal to the world that you value yourself. And when you value yourself, the world follows suit. There is a difference between confidence and arrogance. True confidence is silent, unshaken, needing no validation. It is not loud, nor does it demand attention, it simply exists. It is the knowing that you belong, that you are enough, that you deserve the best. Arrogance, on the other hand, is fragile. It seeks external proof, it needs to be recognized, it craves approval. A truly wealthy person does not need to convince anyone of their wealth. They embody it so completely that it is self-evident. If you wish to exude luxury and confidence, begin by shifting how you see yourself. Ask yourself how a wealthy person would carry themselves in your position. Would they hesitate? Would they shrink themselves to make others comfortable? Would they second-guess their worth? Or would they stand firm in their knowing, moving through life with assurance? This is the shift that must take place within you before it can manifest externally. The energy you project is what shapes your reality. When you walk into a room believing you belong there, others will believe it too. When you speak with conviction, people will listen. When you dress in a way that reflects self-respect and refinement, the world will treat you accordingly. Every detail matters. Every action sends a signal. If you want to be seen as someone who commands respect, who attracts abundance effortlessly, you must first become that person internally. Wealth is a mindset. Confidence is a choice. The difference between those who exude luxury and those who do not is not in their bank balance, but in their belief system. The wealthy believe in their worth without question. They do not ask for permission to be great. They do not apologize for wanting the best. They do not wait for the world to affirm them. They affirm themselves first, and the world follows. Luxury is in the way you treat yourself, in the way you move, in the way you allow yourself to receive. It is in the belief that you are deserving of beauty, of quality, of abundance. This belief does not come from external validation. It comes from an internal knowing. And once you adopt this knowing, once you step into the identity of a person who naturally attracts wealth, the world will rearrange itself to match that assumption. The secret is to embody it now. Do not wait until you have more money, more opportunities, more recognition. Step into the feeling of wealth today. Walk as if you already have everything you desire. Speak as if you are already successful. Carry yourself with the poise and certainty of someone who has already arrived. Because in truth, the moment you assume that identity, you have. The voice carries weight not because of its volume, but because of the belief behind it. Those who speak with confidence do not rush their words. They do not fill the silence with nervous chatter. They do not seek to prove themselves. Instead, they allow their words to land with certainty. They know that what they have to say matters, and so others listen. It is not the words themselves that create an impact. It is the energy behind them. A quiet, assured voice carries more power than the loudest proclamation of self-importance. Luxury is not about what you wear. It is about how you wear it. A person can be dressed in the finest garments, yet if they lack the consciousness of wealth, their appearance will betray them. On the other hand, someone who carries the energy of luxury can make even the simplest outfit look like a statement. The rich do not wear expensive clothing to feel important. They wear it because it is natural to them. Their confidence does not come from their wardrobe. Their wardrobe is simply an extension of their inner state. Movement tells a story. Those who are accustomed to success and abundance do not fidget. They do not make frantic, erratic movements. They move with precision, with control, with grace. Their hands are steady, their gestures deliberate. They do not waste energy proving themselves. Their very existence is proof enough. When they enter a room, they do not announce themselves with words. Their presence alone shifts the atmosphere. The energy they emit draws people in, not because they are trying to impress, but because they embody something rare: self-assurance. Luxury is not rushed. It is never desperate. Those who truly understand wealth and power move through life with a sense of ease. They do not rush to fill silence, nor do they seek constant validation. They are comfortable in their own presence. They know that everything they desire is already theirs, and so they do not chase. They attract. Their energy is calm yet commanding. They do not react to the world, they shape it. A person who embodies confidence does not look around for approval. They do not constantly check to see if others are watching them. They do not adjust their behavior based on external validation. They simply exist in the certainty of their own worth. They do not demand attention, attention finds them. They do not need to be loud to be heard, their presence alone is enough. The world takes note of those who move through life as though they belong, because belief is magnetic. The consciousness of wealth and confidence is not something that can be faked, it must be assumed. Those who attempt to mimic the mannerisms of the rich without first adopting the inner state will find that something always feels off. There is a disconnect between their actions and their beliefs. The truly powerful do not force themselves to act a certain way. They simply are. Their consciousness is effortless because they have assumed it as a natural state of being. Every movement, every expression, every interaction is a reflection of what you believe about yourself. If you believe you are worthy, the world will reflect that back to you. If you believe you belong among the powerful, the world will confirm it. If you carry yourself with the certainty of success, success will find you. The way you present yourself is not just about appearance, it is about the energy you project, and that energy is determined entirely by your assumption. Those who live in wealth do not question their place in the world. They do not hesitate before entering a room. They do not second-guess their worth. They move through life with an ease that comes from knowing they are exactly where they are meant to be. They are not striving. They are simply being. And because they assume this state so fully, the world reflects it back to them in every interaction, every opportunity, every experience. Luxury is not about material possessions. It is about the state of being. A person who embodies wealth and confidence does not need external validation to feel important. They do not need designer labels to prove their worth. They do not need approval to feel powerful. Their confidence is not reliant on circumstance. It is an unshakable inner knowing. It is this knowing that makes them magnetic. It is this knowing that shapes their reality. The energy you project dictates how the world responds to you. Those who exude confidence and luxury do not do so because they are trying. They do so because they have assumed the state. They have stepped into the consciousness of wealth and power, and so the world reflects it back to them effortlessly. There is no forcing, no pretending, no effort. It simply is. When you assume the consciousness of success, everything about you shifts. Your posture changes, your voice deepens, your movements become deliberate. You no longer seek approval because you no longer need it. You no longer hesitate because you already know you belong. The key to exuding luxury and confidence is not found in external effort. It is not about practicing how to walk, how to speak, how to move. It is about assuming the consciousness of someone who already possesses these things. When you fully embody this state, the external world follows. Your energy shifts, and that shift is felt by everyone around you. You do not need to convince anyone of your worth, they simply know. You do not need to demand attention, it comes to you naturally. You do not need to chase success, it is drawn to you effortlessly. You are always communicating something to the world. Every gesture, every movement, every glance tells a story. If you carry yourself as someone who is uncertain, hesitant, or unworthy, the world will respond accordingly. But if you assume the consciousness of wealth, confidence, and power, the world will confirm it. The external world is only ever a reflection of your inner state. And when you shift your state, you shift your reality. The feeling of wealth is not something that exists outside of you. It is not a number in a bank account, nor is it a collection of possessions. It is a state of consciousness, a vibration that you embody, and from that state all external manifestations of luxury and confidence flow effortlessly. Those who live in abundance do not constantly question where their wealth comes from, nor do they worry about how it will continue to flow. They exist in a knowing, a deep, unwavering certainty that wealth is simply part of their existence. And because they assume it so naturally, their world reflects it back to them in every form. Imagine a person who embodies wealth, not as a fleeting moment, but as a natural part of their identity. Their energy is different. They do not operate from a place of scarcity or desperation. They do not cling to money, afraid that it will disappear. Instead, they move through life with an effortless trust that what they need will always be available. This trust is not blind hope. It is an inner conviction so strong that the world has no choice but to mirror it. They know, without question, that wealth is theirs. It is not something they chase, nor is it something they beg for. It is something they allow. To live in luxury, one must first feel luxurious. This is not about buying expensive things to convince yourself of wealth, but about shifting the way you experience yourself in relation to the world. It is about treating yourself as though you are already abundant. Wealth is not in the object itself, but in the way you perceive it. A person who is truly wealthy does not rush through experiences, does not treat themselves as an afterthought, and does not deprive themselves of joy in the name of future security. They live fully, presently, knowing that their wealth is eternal. There is a difference between spending money to feel rich and feeling rich, which then attracts more money. The former is an attempt to convince the mind of wealth, while the latter is an embodiment of a truth already accepted. A person who operates from scarcity will spend money impulsively, trying to capture the fleeting feeling of abundance. But the one who truly understands wealth does not spend out of desperation. They spend out of alignment with their natural state. They buy not to prove something, but because it simply feels natural for them to do so. Their relationship with money is not one of fear, but of partnership. Money is not something to chase. It is something that follows. You can always tell who truly understands wealth by the way they treat themselves. A person who is rich in consciousness does not settle for experiences that do not align with their selfish mating. They are not reckless, but they also do not deprive themselves out of fear. They trust that what they give to themselves, life will return to them multiplied. They invest in their well-being not as an indulgence, but as a natural part of their existence. They do not question whether they deserve the best, they simply assume that they do. Luxury is not about extravagance for the sake of appearance. It is about quality, about choosing experiences and things that reflect a deep sense of self-worth. A person who values themselves does not allow their surroundings to contradict that value. They are intentional about their space, about the way they dress, about the way they carry themselves. It is not about impressing others. It is about living in harmony with the identity they have assumed. They surround themselves with beauty not because they need validation, but because they understand that their external world is an extension of their internal world. To live in luxury, one must first feel luxurious within. The way you treat yourself sets the tone for how the world treats you. If you carry the energy of lack, of never having enough, of always waiting for the right moment to enjoy life, then life will continue to reflect that reality. But if you begin to embody the feeling of abundance, if you start treating yourself as though you are already living in the wealth you desire, the world will respond accordingly. This does not mean reckless spending or forcing yourself into situations that are financially irresponsible. It means aligning with the vibration of wealth in whatever ways are available to you now. It means walking with a sense of certainty, dressing in a way that makes you feel your best, creating an environment that reflects beauty and abundance. It means moving through life with the assurance that you are already the person you aspire to be. To live in wealth, you must first assume the feeling of wealth. You do not wait for evidence to appear before you accept it as real. You become it in consciousness before it takes form in your world. The unseen reality within you is the only reality that matters. You are not pretending, nor are you deceiving yourself. You are aligning with the truth that what you claim internally must manifest externally. The world is but a mirror, reflecting the contents of your mind. When you walk into a room, do so as one who is abundant, not with arrogance, but with a quiet assurance that all you desire is already yours. You do not need to seek approval, for you carry within you the authority of one who possesses great wealth. The way you move, the way you speak, the way you see the world, all must align with the assumption that you are already the person you wish to become. It is not about material displays, but about embodying the consciousness of prosperity. If you were wealthy, how would you feel upon waking? How would you go about your day? Would you worry about lack, or would you move with the certainty that life supports you? Would you dwell in fear, or would you trust that every need is already met? The key is to live in the state of the wish fulfilled. Not someday, not when conditions change, but now, in this very moment. Your senses will tell you otherwise. They will insist that you are still struggling, that circumstances have not yet shifted. But your senses are only reporting the past, the remnants of old assumptions that no longer serve you. If you persist in believing what the world tells you, you will remain bound by it. But if you dare to ignore appearances and instead trust the unseen reality within, you will find that the world rearranges itself to match your conviction. Money is not the source of wealth, consciousness is. If you believe yourself to be wealthy, money will follow. If you see yourself as abundant, opportunities will arise effortlessly. Your only work is to remain faithful to the state of being that aligns with the life you desire. There is no force outside of you deciding what you can or cannot have. There is only the reflection of what you dare to claim as true. Many believe they must struggle, that wealth comes through hardship alone. But wealth is a state of mind, not a condition imposed upon you by the world. The moment you stop seeking and start knowing, you will see the evidence appear before you. Not because you wished for it, but because you became it. The world will call it coincidence, luck, or chance. But you will know better. You will know that you shifted your consciousness, and the world had no choice but to reflect it back to you. To experience wealth in your reality, you must first claim it within yourself. This is not about wishful thinking or daydreaming. It is about shifting your consciousness to a state where wealth is already yours. The outer world is merely a reflection of the inner world, and whatever you hold as true within will inevitably manifest without. Many people wait for their external conditions to change before they allow themselves to feel abundant. They believe that when they see money in their bank account, when they receive a promotion, or when circumstances align in their favor, then they will feel wealthy. But this is a fundamental misunderstanding of how reality works. The external world does not create your inner state. It is your inner state that gives rise to external conditions. If you wish to experience wealth, you must first assume the feeling of being wealthy now. You do not need to see physical evidence before you accept something as true. When you plant a seed, you do not stand over the soil demanding proof that it is growing. You trust the process. You water it, nurture it, and believe in the unseen power that is bringing it to life beneath the surface. The same is true for wealth. You must cultivate the feeling of abundance before you see it take form in your life. This is not about pretending or deceiving yourself. It is about aligning your mind with the reality you desire. You must feel, think, and act as someone who already possesses great wealth. What does that mean? It means waking up with gratitude, knowing that life supports you in all ways. It means moving through your day with confidence, knowing that everything you need is provided for. It means making decisions from a place of abundance rather than lack. The moment you assume the feeling of wealth, the world begins to shift in response. You start to see opportunities where there were none before. You begin to attract the right people, the right circumstances, and the right ideas that lead you to financial success. This is not luck or coincidence. It is the natural law of consciousness. What you hold in your mind as true must express itself in the world around you. Most people make the mistake of allowing their senses to dictate their beliefs. They look at their current financial situation and decide that they are lacking. They focus on their debts, their struggles, and their limitations, reinforcing the very state they wish to escape. But if you continue to dwell in the consciousness of lack, you will only perpetuate more of it. The key is to ignore appearances and persist in the assumption that you are already wealthy. When you assume wealth as your present reality, you naturally begin to make choices that reflect that state. You no longer operate from a mindset of desperation or fear. Instead, you trust that everything you need is always available to you. You no longer cling to every dollar, worrying about how to make ends meet, because you know that money flows effortlessly when you remain in alignment with abundance. This shift in consciousness affects everything in your life. Your body language changes, you walk with confidence rather than hesitation. Your speech changes, you speak of possibilities rather than limitations. Your actions change, you take inspired steps toward financial success rather than reacting to circumstances in fear. When you fully embrace the state of wealth, you no longer seek approval or validation from others because you carry within you the unshakable knowing that you are abundant. There is no need to force anything to happen. Wealth is not something you chase, it is something you embody. When you internalize the feeling of abundance, the world must conform to that state. Just as a mirror reflects your image, reality reflects your dominant thoughts and feelings. If you see yourself as prosperous, the world will have no choice but to show you evidence of your prosperity. Doubt and fear are the greatest obstacles to this process. The mind is conditioned to question, to analyze, and to resist what it cannot yet see. It will try to convince you that you are merely imagining things, that you must struggle, that wealth is for others but not for you. These thoughts are not truths, they are simply remnants of old conditioning that must be released. The moment you stop believing in lack, it loses its power over you. Your only work is to remain faithful to the state of being wealthy. No matter what circumstances arise, no matter what your bank account says, you persist in the assumption that you are already abundant. You do not react to temporary setbacks because you know that your inner state is the cause and the outer world must follow. Many people fail to manifest wealth because they oscillate between belief and doubt. One moment they feel prosperous, and the next they look at their bills and sink back into fear. This inconsistency weakens their creative power. The key is unwavering faith. When you assume a state with full conviction, without second guessing, it must externalize in your life. This practice requires discipline. It means choosing your thoughts deliberately. It means refusing to dwell in worry or scarcity. It means shifting your focus from what is lacking to what is already abundant in your life. Even if you only have a small amount of money, appreciate it. Gratitude amplifies abundance. When you express gratitude for what you have, you are affirming the presence of wealth rather than the absence of it. Your emotions are a powerful indicator of your state. If you feel anxious, stressed, or desperate about money, you are operating from a consciousness of lack. But if you feel at peace, secure, and grateful, you are embodying the state of wealth. Train yourself to recognize these emotional cues and shift your state accordingly. If fear arises, do not resist it. Observe it, acknowledge it, and replace it with a feeling of abundance. Wealth is not about numbers in a bank account. It is about the energy you carry. A person with very little money can still feel abundant, while a person with millions can live in constant fear of loss. True wealth is a state of mind. When you cultivate that state, financial success naturally follows. The world does not create wealth for you, you create it within yourself, and the world simply reflects it back to you. This is the art of acting wealthy before you are. It is not about spending recklessly or trying to impress others. It is about assuming the inner state of abundance so completely that it becomes your reality. If you can hold this state with unwavering faith, you will soon find that what was once invisible has become visible, and what was once a dream has become your life. To truly embody wealth before it materializes in your external world, you must carry yourself with quiet assurance. This is not about arrogance or trying to prove something to others. It is about cultivating an inner confidence that does not waver, regardless of appearances. Wealth is not merely a number in a bank account. It is a state of being, a presence, an energy that radiates from within. When you observe those who are truly wealthy, not just in material possessions but in mindset, you will notice a calm certainty in the way they move, speak, and interact with the world. They do not seek validation. They do not explain themselves. They do not operate from fear. Instead, they exude an effortless knowing that life supports them, that opportunities are abundant, and that wealth flows naturally in their direction. This quiet assurance is something you must cultivate within yourself before your outer world shifts. Most people approach wealth from the outside in. They believe that if they can secure a certain job, acquire a certain amount of money, or achieve external success, then they will feel confident and secure. But this is backward. The confidence must come first. The security must be assumed before it can be experienced. To act with quiet assurance, you must first detach from the need for external proof. If you are constantly looking for signs of wealth in your reality, you are affirming its absence. The moment you seek confirmation from the outside world, you weaken your inner conviction. True wealth does not need proof. It does not need to be justified. It is something you carry within you, regardless of what your circumstances suggest. Imagine for a moment that you are already wealthy beyond measure. How will you carry yourself? How will you speak? How will you interact with the world? You would not rush through life in a state of desperation. You would not cling to every dollar in fear of losing it. You would not shrink yourself or second-guess your worth. Instead, you would move with ease. You would trust in the flow of life. You would make decisions from a place of abundance rather than lack. This shift in your demeanor is subtle but powerful. When you adopt the presence of wealth, the world responds accordingly. Opportunities begin to present themselves effortlessly. People treat you differently, not because you have suddenly acquired money, but because your energy has changed. You attract abundance not through force, but through your unwavering inner state. Most people underestimate the power of their presence. They believe that wealth is determined solely by external factors, jobs, investments, connections. But wealth is first an internal state that influences every action, every decision, every encounter. The way you carry yourself in the smallest moments sends signals to the universe about what you expect to receive. When you walk into a room, do you shrink back, doubting your worth, or do you enter with the quiet assurance of someone who belongs? When you make financial decisions, do you act from fear and hesitation, or do you trust that there is always more than enough? When you speak about money, do you affirm abundance, or do you reinforce limitation? Your words, your posture, your energy, these all communicate your inner state long before your external wealth arrives. You must begin now to align with the presence of wealth, not by pretending or forcing, but by deeply embodying the reality of abundance. This means letting go of the habit of seeking permission to be wealthy. You do not need to wait for external validation. You do not need someone to tell you that you are worthy of success. You must decide it for yourself. Many people make the mistake of trying to act rich in a way that is performative. They overspend to impress others. They seek attention. They focus on appearing wealthy rather than embodying the quiet confidence that true wealth brings. This is not the way. True wealth is not loud. It does not need to prove itself. It does not chase. Think of the wealthiest people in history, not just those with money, but those with true power and influence. Their presence alone speaks volumes. They do not need to announce their wealth. They do not need to demand respect. They carry an undeniable energy of abundance that others recognize instantly. You must cultivate this same quiet assurance within yourself. If you were already wealthy, you would not feel the need to justify yourself to others. You would not operate from scarcity. You would not hesitate to invest in yourself, to trust in your decisions, to move with certainty. You would act from a place of knowing, not hoping. One of the most powerful exercises to shift into this state is to begin observing your daily habits and interactions. How do you react when you receive a bill? Do you feel anxious, or do you trust that money is always flowing to you? How do you behave when you are around others who are financially successful? Do you feel inferior, or do you recognize that you belong in that same space? These small moments reveal your true inner state. If you find yourself shrinking, hesitating, or fearing lack, this is an opportunity to shift. Begin to practice moving through life as someone who already possesses great wealth. When you make decisions, ask yourself, what choice would I make if I knew I was already abundant? When you speak, ensure that your words align with the reality of wealth. When you think about money, release worry and instead focus on the infinite supply available to you. This is not about pretending. It is about stepping into the truth of who you are. Abundance is your natural state. Scarcity is learned. The moment you choose to operate from abundance, the universe has no choice but to meet you there. It is important to remain steady in this state, even when your current reality suggests otherwise. There will be moments when your senses try to convince you that you are lacking. Do not be swayed by appearances. Hold firm in your inner knowing. Act with the quiet assurance that your wealth is already here, even before it is visible. Many people give up too soon. They begin to shift their mindset, but when they do not see immediate results, they fall back into doubt. This is like planting a seed and then digging it up each day to check if it is growing. Wealth manifests for those who persist. Hold your state unwaveringly, and it must externalize. Every moment is an opportunity to embody the presence of wealth. From the way you carry yourself to the thoughts you entertain, every action sends a signal to the universe about what you believe to be true. If you can master this state, if you can hold the feeling of abundance without wavering, the outer world will have no choice but to reflect it back to you. Wealth is not something you chase, it is something you align with. The moment you begin to embody the feeling of already being wealthy, you start to attract the experiences, opportunities, and people that match that inner state. This is the power of emotional alignment. The external world is a reflection of your internal world. If you continue to see yourself as someone who lacks, who struggles, who is always in need, then life will confirm that belief. But if you step into the identity of someone who is already abundant, the world must respond accordingly. Most people make the mistake of focusing on their external conditions and allowing those conditions to dictate how they feel. If they see a small bank balance, they feel poor. If they receive an unexpected bill, they feel anxious. If they lose an opportunity, they feel defeated. But this is the exact opposite of how wealth is created. You cannot let the outside world determine your inner state, because the outside world is only a reflection of past thoughts and feelings. Instead, you must decide how you want to feel first, and then allow reality to reshape itself around that decision. Begin by asking yourself, how would I feel if I already had everything I desired? If I had unlimited financial resources? If I had complete freedom? If I had all the support I needed? What emotions would fill my being? Would I feel relieved? Would I feel powerful? Would I feel grateful? Would I feel at peace? These feelings are not dependent on circumstances. They can be generated within you right now in this very moment. When you close your eyes and truly step into the experience of wealth, when you allow yourself to feel it in every cell of your body, you are shifting your frequency to match that reality. This is not mere imagination, it is creation. The mind does not know the difference between something vividly imagined and something physically experienced. The emotions you generate now begin to restructure your energy field, sending signals out into the universe that draw to you the corresponding external manifestation. The key is consistency. Many people try this process for a short time, but then they allow old habits of thought and emotion to creep back in. They return to worrying, to doubting, to looking at what is rather than focusing on what is becoming. But if you truly want to shift your reality, you must hold the feeling of abundance unwaveringly. You must live in the emotional state of already having what you desire, regardless of what your senses tell you. This is not about ignoring reality or pretending that challenges do not exist. It is about deciding which reality you will give your energy to. Will you continue to reinforce lack by emotionally reacting to it? Or will you discipline your mind to remain fixed on the experience of wealth, even when physical evidence has not yet arrived? Consider the way you feel about money right now. Do you feel anxious when you think about it? Do you feel restricted? Do you feel like you never have enough? These emotions are indicators of what you are creating. If you want to change your financial reality, you must first change your emotional relationship with money. You must learn to feel good about it, to feel grateful for what you have, to appreciate its presence rather than fear its absence. Gratitude is one of the most powerful emotional tools for shifting into wealth. When you focus on what you already have, when you acknowledge every dollar that flows into your life, no matter how small, you create an energy of abundance. The universe responds to this energy by giving you more. But when you focus on what is missing, on what is lacking, on what you do not yet have, you block the flow of prosperity. Think about the wealthiest people in the world. Do they wake up every morning worried about money? Do they stress over bills? No. They assume that money is always available to them. They trust that it will continue to flow. They do not operate from scarcity, and as a result, their wealth grows effortlessly. If you can train yourself to adopt the same emotional state, your financial circumstances must begin to reflect that shift. One of the greatest mistakes people make is waiting for external circumstances to change before they allow themselves to feel abundant. They think, once I have more money, then I will feel secure. Once I get that job, then I will feel successful. Once I achieve my goals, then I will feel at peace. But this is backward. The feeling must come first. You must feel secure now, feel successful now, feel at peace now. Because it is that emotional state that creates the future you desire. This requires a conscious decision every day. Every time you catch yourself slipping into worry or doubt, remind yourself that your emotions are shaping your reality. Choose to feel differently. Choose to shift your focus. Choose to embody the energy of wealth, even if there is no physical evidence of it yet. A powerful exercise to practice this shift is to spend a few moments each day immersing yourself in the feeling of already having what you desire. Sit in a quiet space, close your eyes, and imagine yourself living in the exact reality you want. See yourself in your dream home, driving your dream car, experiencing the financial freedom you long for. More importantly, feel it. Let the emotions of joy, gratitude, and security flood your body. The more real you make this experience in your mind, the faster it will materialize in your life. Your emotions are like magnets. They attract experiences that match their frequency. If you walk through life feeling wealthy, feeling secure, feeling abundant, the world must rearrange itself to reflect those feelings. This is why some people seem to attract money effortlessly, while others struggle no matter how hard they work. It is not about effort alone, it is about energetic alignment. The beautiful thing about this process is that it does not require external permission. You do not have to wait for anyone to give you wealth. You do not have to wait for the right opportunity, the right conditions, or the right time. You can begin shifting into the emotional state of abundance right now, and as you do, life will begin to mirror that state back to you in ways that seem almost miraculous. It may begin with small signs, a sudden financial gift, an unexpected opportunity, a feeling of ease where there was once stress. As you continue to hold the emotional state of wealth, those signs will grow into tangible realities. the money will come. The opportunities will multiply. The abundance you feel inside will become the abundance you experience outside. This is the art of emotional alignment. It is not about hoping or wishing. It is about embodying. It is about stepping into the experience of wealth internally before it appears externally. When you master this, you will no longer be controlled by circumstances. You will no longer react to lack or limitation. You will know with absolute certainty that you are wealthy and that wealth is your natural state. Once you fully align your emotions with the reality you desire, you become unstoppable. No obstacle can shake you, no setback can discourage you, because you are no longer looking to the external world for confirmation. You know that your wealth exists now, within you, and it is only a matter of time before it appears in the physical world. Hold on to that knowing, remain steady in that emotional state, and watch as reality bends to match it. The way you speak about yourself and your financial situation is one of the most powerful forces shaping your reality. Words are not just expressions of thought. They are creative tools that bring into existence the very experiences you describe. Every time you speak, you reinforce a particular identity, and that identity dictates the experiences you attract. If you want to shift into a reality of wealth and abundance, you must first become conscious of the language you use and ensure that every word you speak aligns with that reality. Most people are unaware of how often they affirm lack and limitation in their daily conversations. They say things like, "I can't afford that," "Money is so hard to come by," "I'm always struggling," or "I'll never get ahead." These statements may seem harmless, but they are powerful declarations that reinforce a state of lack. Each time these words are spoken, they act as a command to the subconscious mind, reinforcing the belief that scarcity is the dominant reality. The subconscious then organizes circumstances to match that belief, ensuring that the experience of lack continues. Your words do not just shape your financial reality, they influence how others perceive and interact with you. When you speak with confidence about your financial success, even if it has not yet manifested in full, people begin to see you as someone who is abundant. This perception opens doors. Opportunities flow to those who are perceived as successful, because success attracts success. If you carry yourself as someone who is financially secure, others will respond accordingly, and before long, your outer world will reflect that inner confidence. It is important to recognize that speaking as if you are already wealthy does not mean being dishonest or pretending to be something you are not. It means choosing to focus on abundance rather than limitation. It means expressing gratitude for the wealth that already exists in your life, no matter how small. It means acknowledging every financial blessing, no matter how minor, and speaking about it with appreciation. Gratitude is a key component of wealth-conscious speech. When you constantly express appreciation for what you have, you send a powerful message to the universe that you recognize and value abundance. This in turn attracts more abundance. Instead of saying, "I wish I had more money," say, "I am so grateful for the financial blessings in my life." Instead of complaining about expenses, say, "I am thankful that I have the resources to pay for what I need." This shift in language transforms your relationship with money from one of stress to one of ease, and that ease allows wealth to flow more freely. The way you speak to yourself internally is just as important as the words you say out loud. Your internal dialogue shapes your self-image, and your self-image dictates the reality you create. If you constantly tell yourself that you are struggling, that you are unlucky, that wealth is out of reach, those beliefs will be reflected in your life. But if you train your inner voice to affirm abundance, to declare that you are financially empowered, to recognize the infinite possibilities available to you, then those beliefs will become your reality. A powerful practice is to speak abundance over your life every morning. Before you even get out of bed, take a moment to declare the financial reality you desire. Say, "Today I welcome prosperity. Money flows to me in unexpected ways. I am aligned with wealth. Every action I take brings me closer to financial freedom. Speaking these words at the start of each day sets the tone for everything that follows. It programs your subconscious mind to seek out opportunities, to recognize possibilities, to move through the day with the confidence of someone who is already abundant. Another technique is to speak about money as if it were a trusted friend. Instead of treating money as something elusive or difficult to obtain, speak about it with warmth and appreciation. Say, "Money loves me, it flows to me with ease, it supports me in all my endeavors." This transforms your relationship with wealth from one of struggle to one of harmony, and that harmony creates the conditions for more financial success. Your words create a vibration that echoes into the world and shapes the experiences that return to you. When you speak wealth into existence, when you affirm your financial abundance with conviction, when you refuse to engage in conversations of lack and limitation, you align yourself with the frequency of prosperity. This alignment is what draws money, opportunities, and success into your life. Many people underestimate the power of their words because they do not see immediate results. But just as the seed takes time to grow into a tree, the words you speak plant the foundation for future abundance. Every declaration of wealth, every affirmation of financial success, every statement of gratitude adds another layer to that foundation. If you remain consistent, if you continue to speak as if wealth is already yours, reality will eventually conform to your words. To master the art of speaking wealth into existence, you must remain vigilant. Pay close attention to the words you use every day. Correct yourself when you slip into statements of lack. Replace every negative financial thought with an empowering declaration of abundance. Over time, this practice becomes second nature, and as it does, your outer world will shift to reflect the abundance you have claimed with your words. When you speak as though you are already wealthy, you begin to embody that reality. The world responds not to what you wish for, but to what you declare with certainty. Declare abundance, speak prosperity, affirm financial success, and watch as the power of your words shapes the world around you into one of limitless wealth. The way you carry yourself in daily life reflects what you believe about yourself and your place in the world. Your posture, your mannerisms, the way you walk into a room. These subtle but powerful expressions signal to others, and more importantly to yourself, the state of mind you are embodying. To attract wealth, you must begin to move through life as if you are already abundant. This is not about arrogance or pretense. It is about embodying a mindset that aligns with financial success. Most people do not realize that their body language and movement habits are reinforcing a state of lack. When a person is worried about money, their shoulders tend to slump, their movements become hesitant, and they carry an air of uncertainty. They may shuffle instead of walking confidently. Their handshake may be weak. Their eye contact may be fleeting. These small details send a clear message to the subconscious: I am struggling, I do not have enough. And because the subconscious mind faithfully manifests the identity you assume, life continues to reflect this belief. On the other hand, the body language of someone who is financially secure exudes confidence, ease, and assurance. They walk with a purpose, their posture is upright, their handshake is firm, and their gaze is steady. They do not move through the world as if they are weighed down by financial burdens. Instead, they radiate a quiet assurance that everything they need is already available to them. By adopting this physical presence before the outer conditions match, you signal to your subconscious mind that you are already wealthy, and it begins to arrange circumstances to align with that assumption. One of the simplest ways to begin shifting into this wealthy state of being is to practice walking with confidence. The next time you enter a room, straighten your posture, lift your chin slightly, and walk with the presence of someone who has nothing to fear. Imagine that you are stepping into a space where you belong, where you are recognized and respected. With each step, feel the energy of abundance moving through you. Do not rush, do not shrink yourself. Move with the ease of someone who knows they are secure. The way you sit and stand also reflects your state of mind. People who feel powerless tend to collapse into themselves, crossing their arms defensively or fidgeting with their hands. In contrast, those who feel abundant and at ease take up space, sitting with their shoulders open, their movements fluid, their breath steady, to step into the identity of wealth. Become aware of how you hold yourself. Adjust your posture throughout the day. If you find yourself shrinking, straighten up. If you catch yourself fidgeting nervously, take a deep breath and relax into the moment. These small shifts create a powerful internal change, reinforcing the belief that you are in control of your reality. Clothing also plays a significant role in how you present yourself to the world, and more importantly, how you feel about yourself. You do not need to spend large sums of money on designer labels to dress with the presence of wealth. Instead, focus on choosing clothing that makes you feel confident and well put together. Wealthy individuals take care in their appearance, not for the sake of impressing others, but because they respect themselves. Dressing with intention signals to your mind that you are worthy of abundance. Even if your budget is currently limited, choose pieces that fit well, that make you feel powerful, and that reflect the image of the person you are becoming. It is also important to consider the way you engage with the world around you. People who are stuck in a scarcity mindset often move through life with a sense of hurried desperation. They rush through meals, they fidget impatiently, they check their phones compulsively, always feeling as though they are running out of time or resources. This frantic energy reinforces the experience of lack. In contrast, wealthy individuals approach life with a sense of calm presence. They take their time, they savor their experiences. They move through conversations with intention rather than urgency. They understand that abundance is not something to chase, but something to allow. To embody this state of ease, practice slowing down. When you eat, do so with presence, as if you are in no rush, because you have all the time in the world. When you speak, do so with measured confidence rather than hurried uncertainty. When you move, do so deliberately, as if every action is taken from a place of power. This shift in energy alone will begin to transform how you experience life, because you are no longer reinforcing the identity of someone struggling for more. You are embodying the reality of someone who already has it. Another powerful practice is to become aware of how you handle money in daily interactions. People who feel financially insecure tend to treat money with nervous energy. They grip their cash tightly. They hesitate when paying for things. They count every cent with a sense of lack. In contrast, those who feel financially abundant handle money with ease. They do not cling to it fearfully, nor do they spend it recklessly. They move it through their lives with trust. When you hand over money, do so with gratitude, knowing that more is always coming to you. When you receive money, accept it with appreciation, recognizing that it is a natural and constant flow. The places you frequent also contribute to your self-perception. If you constantly surround yourself with environments that reinforce struggle, your subconscious will continue to associate your identity with lack. This does not mean you must spend extravagantly, but you can begin to expose yourself to places that align with the wealth you are stepping into. Visit beautiful spaces, walk through high-end areas, spend time in locations that elevate your sense of abundance. Even if you are not purchasing anything, simply being in an environment that reflects success shifts your internal reference points, making wealth feel more natural to you.